I'm going to try to make this as fast as I can. TxDOT has been pretty busy on the pollinator end, and just a little bit about TxDOT. We got over 1 million acres of highway right-of-way. 800,000 of it can be mowed. We have a lot of people always telling us to mow the right-of-way more. Y'all know how much it costs to cut the grass one time? It costs $23 million to cut the grass one time. So for that reason, we only mow really our rural areas 2 times a year. Urban areas 3 times a year. But, you know, there's a lot of good things that comes out of that mowing. You see that one thing, our wildflower program, do not mow until the wildflowers have set seed. That happened in a memo dated 1937. And that's been our vegetation management program then, and it is still the same, and it's been the same all those years. I know a lot of people have wondered about, how does TxDOT manage its wildflowers? Exactly that. We wait until the plants have gone to seed before we go out and mow. And then we come back in the fall and mow the right-of-way so that those annuals can germinate and establish so we have that spring show. Really simple, isn't it? You know, that last statement there, preservation leads to proper propagation. We really do believe that mowing is critical. You know, mowing height is critical. I had someone the other day tell me, you know, y'all need to be mowing 12 inches tall. Did any of y'all ever run a batwing mower? Try to put it on 12 inches on a 3-to-1 slope and see how you feel about it, all right? It doesn't happen, okay? So that's okay. Some of the things that we have been doing, though, that for the monarchs, and this is one that really makes TxDOT, drives TxDOT in a lot of its revegetation actions, is the Clean Water Act. Of course, the Clean Water Act states that you got to get a 70% perennial vegetated cover before they can sign a notice of termination on a construction project, or that engineer can be held civilly and criminally liable for any erosion or any pollution coming off of that site. If y'all know that one, NPDES, that wonderful thing? It is a good thing, but if you are that engineer with your name on that notice of intent, what's your first thinking when it comes to establishing vegetation? I don't care what it is. Put me something green out there, get me an NOT. And you can't blame the guy, because why? He can be held personally, civilly, and criminally liable if he does it. So one of the things that we did is we've got some really good seed mixes out there, and if anybody has not seen our seed mixes, please go on our website and look up spec items and look up item 164. I heard someone say, well, TxDOT planting KR. I've been there 30 years. We ain't ever planted it, so. All right. We get blamed for lots. What's new? I got blamed the other day for planting chloris down there, and I'm going, where in the world did anybody get the seed for that? But one thing I have been really stressing out to our directors of constructions and our district engineers is getting a lot of our perennial wildflowers and perennial pollinating plants, nectar plants, in our seed mixes when we're doing construction jobs. And I think that's a great way. You know, at any one time in TxDOT, we have about 4,800 projects going on. Every one of those projects are going to have to be seeded. If I can get all our district engineers on this program of putting a bunch of pollinators out with our permanent perennial grasses, how many acres can we put back into more pollinators on a short term? And believe it or not, it is getting to be easier and easier to sell this to our district engineers and our directors of construction. I meet with our directors of constructions and directors of maintenance all the time, directors of operations, and they all think of me as a flower guy again, all right? I'll take it. Last year in TxDOT, though, we planted over 1,000 acres of wildflower seeds. That's pretty dang good, if you ask me. This year, I've got commitment to go almost to 3,000 acres from the districts. I'm more worried about having enough seed commercially than I am anything else. You know, I know the groups yesterday, yes, ma'am, I'm getting on there 5 minutes, yes, I'm hurrying. Some of the things that we talked about, the seed availability is a very limiting factor. And of course, I'll get into that in just a second. Monarch Waystations is one thing that we got to get back on task. See, my mind always drifts off over a different thing. Some of the things that we've been doing, though, are setting up the Monarch Waystations at some of our rest areas, especially along that I-35 corridor. We have put in Monarch Waystations, and these are just pollinator plantings that are going on there. One of the things that, in addition to setting up these pollinator plantings, and this was done with the Native Plant Society, and they were been very good to work with. But we've also developed a little promo to be played at these rest areas. So when people stop and look at that, they can go inside, push a button, and there'll be a 5-minute little video talking about pollinators. And if you ever get a chance to look it up on YouTube, Perpetuating Pollinators, please have a look at it. You know, that's my first swing at that kind of stuff. So it came out pretty good. So that means the second one's going to be a flop, right? That's usually what it means. But we've been doing that in these rest areas, and some of the other things that we have been looking at is doing more work in these rest areas, because we've got 80 rest areas around the state. Each of those rest areas usually have 25 to 30 acres associated with them, and they're out there getting mowed all the time. Some of the things that we're looking at with some NGOs, is non-government organizations, is getting out there and establishing some small prairie type plantings, pollinator plantings, in that type of area. Would it do us good? Well, it'd do our contractor good, because he wouldn't have to mow it all the time, but that would also give the public a place to stop and look at some natural beauty. So that's in the works. Now we are participating in the Texas Native Seed Project. I like this. Way back when it used to be called South Texas Native Seed Reclamation Project. I can't know. We've renamed it 3 times now. But it is out of Texas A&M Kingsville, and it has been a major reason for us changing up a lot of our seed mixes. And one of the things that they're going to be releasing hopefully next year, is the Zyzotes milkweed. You know, I have a lot of people say, hey, y'all need to plant milkweed. How many of y'all ever tried to plant a couple acres of milkweed? Were you successful? Okay, there you go. I have that same luck. It's just a big money pit with me. One of the things that we've seen with this Zyzotes is that it has been pretty easy to establish. Very good germination on it and easy to establish. So, man, that would be a great benefit to be putting into our construction project. So I kind of wish this would work, and kind of knew it wouldn't. This was at our Sonora rest area last fall, and those were all monarchs, and it was just a pretty tremendous sight out there. We had one of my guys that was out there inspecting the rest area, and he just said it was a cloud of monarchs out there, so he filmed it. So that was a great thing. But let me get back to everything else. When it comes to the right-of-way, I have a lot of people wanting to work on the right-of-way. Let me tell you, the right-of-way is a dangerous place. We don't really like anybody out there, because you park that car out there and you got people driving by at 100 miles an hour. I about got killed the other day on Ben White. Interstate truck, had a sign blow over in the lane. I stopped the truck, turned on all my lights. You know how many lights we got on those trucks, you know. And this lady just came, and I was picking up the sign, and she never moved. I dropped the sign. I had to jump over the concrete barrier. She ran over the sign, busted it into a million pieces. But if she would have hit that sign with me holding it, and that was scary time number 2 for me. So that's some of the reasons why we really don't encourage going out there. You know, I have a lot of people say, can we collect seed on the right-of-way? Do you think I'm going to tell you no? Do you think I can tell you yes? I can't. But you think if you just stop and pick some seed, no one's going to say anything? No one's going to say anything. I have a problem when we get 30, 40 people out there collecting seed. Then we've got some dangerous things out there. That's one of the reasons why I want to encourage more of this work into our safety rest areas. So we got more things to do. With that, I'll leave it to you. If y'all ever have any questions, there's my phone numbers. Please call me. I'll be happy to talk to anybody. Thank you.